I had planned on sticking a thumbnail up on here, but I decided not to because I'm only going to get maybe 10 or 20 views at most. Such is the life of the YouTube commentator. But let's talk about this story. If my phone will flip. Okay, former Hawaii Governor Neil Abercrombie on Monday called on Democratic Representative Tulsi Gabbard to resign from Congress, citing her present vote on impeaching President Trump and absence from Capitol Hill to her presidential campaign. How you doing, Ruben? I feel very strongly the second district of Hawaii must be fully represented. Abercrombie, a Democrat who previously served in the House for nearly 2 decades, said at a press conference according to the Honolulu Civil Beat. Abercrombie, whatever, who cares about his name, said that Gabbard should step down and allow a special election to fill her seat. Gabbard, who has served in the House since 2013, has already said that she will not seek re-election to focus on her presidential campaign. Abercrombie served, this man's name, served as Hawaii governor from 2010 to 2014. According to the website GovTrack US, Gabbard has missed about 86% of House votes in the last 3 months. Gabbard has faced backlash from her party for voting present on the two articles of impeachment against Trump last week, which alleged abuse of power and obstruction of Congress for his efforts to pressure the Ukrainian government to investigate his political opponents and stall Democrats' inquiry. Gabbard is considered a long shot to win the Democratic nomination and not qualified for last week's debate. She is currently polling at less than 2% nationally, according to a polling average from Real Clear Politics. Gabbard justified her decision to vote present on the articles of impeachment by arguing that she was standing in the center and called for a vote on her resolution to censor Trump instead. Who else? Oh, other Democrats in Congress expressed irritation at Gabbard's vote, including another fellow Hawaiian, Senator Mazie Hirono. She apparently can't decide whether the president has shaken down the president of another country for his own political purposes, Hirono told The Hill last week. She hasn't been able to decide whether that's okay or not. Gabbard previously butted heads with Hirono earlier this year after she implicitly accused her home state senator and other Democrats of having weaponized religion for their own self-gain in their questioning of a judicial nominee. All right. Is another out of touch resistance neoliberal and is fine with funding wars. Yeah, the governors of California have all, like, I'd say probably all of them after maybe Pat Brown, you could just throw out both Newsom and his immediate predecessor Brown are neoliberals. And Brown has, like, him and Newsom have the same kind of public image. Oh yeah, they're progressive, they're left wing. No, they're not. So let's get to this story. In the upload I had on Saturday, I was talking about how you have people who take one vote if you're a member of Congress, and they just blow it to such a large proportion that you can't even, like, everything else you did, no matter how good it was, no matter how often you were agreed with by them, gets completely thrown out of the window. So when he says, oh yeah, she voted present on Trump's impeachment, well, you had two Democrats vote for Trump's acquittal on the charges, and I don't see this governor going after them, saying they should resign. And then, like, the missing votes are justified, the 86%. That's ridiculous. You shouldn't miss that many votes. But all the presidential candidates are missing votes. They're all in Iowa and New Hampshire, traveling around making their case. That's just the thing that happens when you run for president. You miss votes because you're not in Washington every week, or in some cases for months. And that just happens when I remember Christie, actually, when they did a story about him, he was out of, when he was the governor of New Jersey, and he suspended his presidential campaign when he was jockeying to be Trump's running mate. I think he was out of New Jersey for 100 days, it's almost a third of the year. Like, what the hell kind of governor is that? But, I'm just saying it's very common for people who are incumbents to not do their due diligence of their job while they're running for president. what happened in Oklahoma. She is now just another mouthpiece for the resistance and is pushing both the fake Iran protest and is being hawkish to Turkey. Yeah, Ruben, these progressives are letting people down. The only one I stick to is Roe. And I already told you he's never going to get the traction that those other ones have because he doesn't have a vagina. I saw this guy say that Jerry Brown was actually good up until he lost the 1992 Democratic primary to Bill Clinton. Well, look, I've lived under his third and fourth terms as governor, and they were as corporatist as you can get. I think the only issue that he was a little bit better than the corporate Dems on was immigration, but I'd have to go and review it. I wasn't impressed. Ilhan AOC are beautiful young women. Okay, whatever. Kevin, I don't care to talk about these people. Look, because just as you could say they're beautiful, somebody else come in here and say they're hideous. Kevin doesn't know what he's talking about. Blech. When I did a stream last month about a user who I said betrayed me, I had said that AOC was hot or something, and then like 3 or 4 people commented, "No, she's not." And it's like that's kind of not the point. I'm just using this as an example of how people let these little dissenting issues take up the entire quantity or content of something they're doing, which is what that person did, and that's why they got booted. Yeah, I can't believe that. Like I was saying before, the reason that TYT kind of got on my nerves this last week with the segment they had on Tulsi for the president vote is that we have literally sat here for now a full year and watched her get smeared by mainstream media, now sometimes by progressive outlets. I mean, I could do a whole probably hour-long video about Pac-Man and his thing with Tulsi, where it's gotten so bad he doesn't even call her by her actual name, where he says Gabbard. And you should have. I watched his live stream for the impeachment vote, and he was like, "What are you doing?" So just it never seems to end. Members of your own party go, and here's what gets me, right? When we had the last presidential election, because I made it very clear I wasn't voting for Clinton after she won the primary against Sanders, and I had people on Twitter and all their websites, I guess you just want Trump to win. I guess you just, and it was all about protecting or being like trying to show this idea of unity, right? So when a progressive gets gone after, as they've done with Sanders, as they've done with Gabbard, as they've done with Yang to an extent as well, you don't really see the same people coming out and saying, "Hey, don't go after that person. Don't weaken them ahead of the general. They might win, and we don't want them to, be some figure that a group of people stay home against voting." Like to this day, I'll never get over all those Clinton supporters that got mad at people for putting hashtag Never Hillary that are now putting hashtag Never Bernie. It's like you guys wanted me to believe you subscribe to unity. You believe in staying true to your party no matter what, because the other party is so much more horrible, even though it really isn't, depending on what candidate you have. But now you're going to go around and do the exact same thing that these other people were doing. Rashida debuted with chanting impeach the exact same week she voted for Pago. Some guy called her on the comment. I agreed until I checked his channel, and he was just another Trump fanboy. Yeah, the Pago thing is dumb. It's like it's that vote and then the Israel vote. Remember where it was out of the progressives? It was Roe, it was Gabbard, and I think who else? Presley that voted in favor of condemning the BDS movement. And all the progressives, "Oh my God, you betrayed us. I never want to see you again." Told you, man. That's why I hate the idea of like actually winning, running for office, and being in the House, and then like you have one vote somebody doesn't like, and they just turn on you. The only person I've seen be able to have multiple not so good votes and still get progressive support, like just everybody still coalesces around Sanders, because we had I mentioned the judicial nominees that were fast tracked last year. Remember the ones that are going to hear thousands of cases in comparison with the 100 that the Supreme Court hears every year. Therefore, they're going to have a bigger influence. And I was mentioning how you can literally have one senator say from the opposing party, "We're not doing this," and it gets stopped. And Sanders didn't stop it. Which again, that's something that the whole party, the whole 40 plus Democratic caucus didn't do. So I'm not holding him to that specific standard. But I didn't see any progressive going, "Hey, you're supposed to be better than the rest of them. Why aren't you speaking out? That's supposed to be your thing." The one person that, stays true to their belief system, no matter how much you want to go home or get this vote over with. Presley is not progressive. People only say this because she is part of AOC's dumb picture. Well, I said the same thing, Ruben. Remember, Jimmy had the video of her saying that Hillary was a progressive. You remember that video from well, it was from 3 years ago, but he played it, I think, right after she won the primary last year against whoever she unseated. I forgot their name. I don't know if you remember that. But he had a whole video of her saying that Hillary was a progressive, and it shocked me because it's like, if he can find that, why the hell can TYT's investigative journalists also uncover the same thing? Or maybe they did and they just didn't care. That could be another angle of it. I see left-wing people talk crap about Bernie for previous votes / policy / records all the time. I guess what I'm saying is I don't see the same quick abandonment that a lot of other people do. Like, even when Dore critiques him, he'll still say, "I'm disappointed because of this. I agree with the majority of his career." I can literally pull up clips of him saying stuff like that, where he, even if it's a critique, doesn't say, "I'm going to throw this person away." When Warren didn't endorse Sanders, a good chunk of progressives threw her away. I'm just saying these are like different examples. And I told you look at the one person that did endorse him in the previous presidential cycle, Merkley, they act like he doesn't exist. So, you really don't get any reward for doing what they want either way. Yeah, this governor is so ridiculous. He's another neoliberal person who is using ridiculous standards to go after her. And it's not hard to understand this stuff. When you look at most of these presidential candidates, they don't vote the majority of the time while they're running for president. So to go after her and say, "I want her to resign because she's not voting," even though all the other presidential candidates who are in Congress aren't either. "I want her to be out of there because she voted a way I didn't like." God, I'm so embarrassed. That's why I don't like the DNC. Like the whole party is just filled with a bunch of grandstand, because he knows she's not going to resign, and he knows that she probably doesn't care one way or the other how he feels about the his viewpoint or whatever. So it's just him grandstanding and trying to, I guess, look cool or appear to be the moral authority. "How dare Gabbard vote this way?" He didn't come out when Obama tried to cut Social Security. Didn't come out when we passed a right-wing healthcare plan instead of a left-wing. But like, all that stuff happens, and these people keep their mouths shut. But then when one member of your party doesn't vote to impeach Trump, doesn't vote to acquit him either, just votes in the middle. So I said they're a joke. Everybody always wants to make you think they're the superior moral person. Give me a break. "Oh my God, Tulsi voted to keep Trump in office because she thinks the Ukraine thing is the least of our concerns." Ugh. Yeah, that was the biggest news story I saw. I just thought it was so insane. Like, some governor you've never heard of. I guarantee you no one's ever heard of this governor because they've never done anything that was worth a damn. Comes out and says this member of my party needs to go for voting in the middle. He ignores the two people that voted to acquit Trump from his own party and goes after her for missing, admittedly, over 80% of her House votes in the last 3 months, even though other members of Congress who are running for president are missing just as much, if not more, votes than she is. The resistance is pushing Obama to deity standards. It's horrifying. Oh, I've seen that too. Oh, remember when we had grace and dignity in the White House? Like, no, I don't. I remember when the media pretended like he was some good, upstanding citizen that was just getting smeared by Fox for no reason, which sometimes did happen, getting a little nonsense like the Tan suit controversy, but just they're really playing him up like he was some Jesus Christ figure. Is one of those two Democrats who voted no for impeachment the one that's Van Drew. And listen, he was already, and this is why I said there's no difference between the parties. He was already a right winger. He voted about, I think it was 6-7 years ago, to cut the minimum wage. It was something having to do with labor laws. That is a right wing position. You can go look. I can provide you a link for it. But all I'm saying is he already wasn't a progressive, so it's not too surprising. I mean, switching parties for these people is as easy as changing the shirt because they don't have any differing principles from the other party. The media is still claiming that all the bad things during Obama were only because of McConnell. Yeah, I told you. It's like if you look at a calendar with these media people, 2009 post when Obama got inaugurated and 2010 just got deleted. Like 2 years of having the House and Senate just erased because these people want to have an easy narrative. The Republicans blocked him from doing what he wanted to do. No, he didn't. In those 2 years, they had both chambers. But see, again, it's very convenient to say, hey, that great president, he only wasn't greater because the Republicans were opposing him. Yeah. Interesting how they're trying to get rid of Tulsi. I'm telling you, Envoy, politics is such a dirty game. These people will switch and flick and turn on you before you can even spin your head. They pulled up a clip of Trump from 11 years ago talking about his support for Bush getting impeached and saying that Pelosi was, I don't know if you saw it. It was really funny because it's the complete reverse. So like it's worth watching for two reasons. One, that you have a future president admitting that they support the impeachment of the current person and now they're getting impeached. And then you have him praising the Speaker of the House, who is now spearheading the effort to remove him and calling for someone else at that time. If you feel Dems are all over the place. But the same can be said of the Republic. Well, Envoy, remember, the Republicans are sticking like a team. They're staying together. None of them, I take that back. One of them voted to impeach Trump in the House. Then they changed it. So they're this tight-knit unit. And that's why I said, like, they were talking about, oh, the impeachment hearings might change opinions. When you see the evidence, they're all going to flip. It's like, no, when you are in politics, 90% of the time, you are there for one reason, and that's to get rich and to keep your job. I'm gonna check him out, Ruben. Give me. The good news is I can finally record the Corbin documentary. I'll try to do it after Christmas. So there's that update. But those two reasons are what these people are looking for in the House, the Senate, the governors, whatever. Keep your job and make money. So if they vote to impeach Trump and they stand to risk losing their job because all his rabid fans don't want to accept any evidence or anybody having a dissenting view, they're going to say, screw that. And it's like that for both parties. If Obama was getting impeached, let's say he was, this was during his first term, right? All the Democrats, except for maybe one person, and even that's pushing it, would have voted to acquit him. And it's not because they don't think he's ever done anything wrong. It's because they don't want to lose their jobs. They're lucky that I'm not in the House. I probably would have voted to acquit Trump because I don't care. This impeachment thing is stupid. We're going to vote to impeach you in the House just so the Senate can acquit you and your approval rating can go up. And they had a new poll. They said Trump's at a 50% approval rating. And I think I mentioned, if you ever saw the video about how the Democrats were going down in Wisconsin, they're in the potential matchups right as this impeachment nonsense was going underway. God, man. So they're screwing themselves up. They're gonna screw up their legislative agenda, and they're also gonna mess up any of the Democrats that, even if it's progressive, they're gonna give them a harder time winning because Trump's gonna have a higher approval rating. Oh, look, they wasted their time trying to impeach me. Now they're running this socialist. Ha 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 ha. God, I'm so sick of these people. I'm telling you, I'm just getting more and more close to running. Like, when I saw my congressperson, they gave an interview about maybe 2 weeks before both Bernie and Rota have legalized sex work. Oh my God, no, my chat. Damn it. Oh, it went out again. This is stupid. All right, let me try to turn it on and off again. This is horrible. Jesus. Well, I tried to make chat work. Looks like it didn't happen. So, if anyone's writing anything and I don't say anything, that means I can't see it because it says my chat has been disconnected. So if you can see me, say hello. You can respond to that. Damn. That's going to be a thing now. It's because they're moving all the different chords around over and over. And I'm losing people, so maybe this thing isn't working either. Let's see. Seems to be. Yeah. Okay, so. Oh, okay. So my chat isn't working on the computer, but it's working on the phone, so I can still read the stuff that's being written. Yeah. So whenever I do that, where I type something in there, that's because the chat went out on my computer. So the last thing I see is where Ruben said, "SJW morons," and then I see Ruben saying hello, and then Envoy says the gender thing is a bit absurd, in my opinion. Yeah, I really can't wait until maybe a year from now I can just completely disclose what's happened over here. It's been really ridiculous because they're messing with cords and wires and tripping stuff up. It's really nonsensical, but it is what it is. No, it was lagging because I was trying to get the chat to work again, so I turned my Wi-Fi off and then I started it back up. So that was the reason for that. It wasn't YouTube messing up. It was me turning it off and on again. Let me reset it. So now we have our explanation. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, you have people who've actually condemned Gabbard over this vote, who have almost acted like Peterson, whatever his name is, Colin, the Democrat from the South, who I think he's from the South, the one that voted to acquit Trump, that is not changing parties. And I don't see anyone going after him. Letting the two of you know that my preferred pronouns are piss/crap. We got to also realize that pandering in politics will never stop. They're going to reach out to these groups all the time. Yeah, but the thing is, the groups don't have to reciprocate that person. So if you remember, not Gabbard, Harris was, I don't know how I mistook them. That's the blooper of the decade. Harris was having a hard time getting Black voters to support her. And it was because a lot of them were familiar with her basically being part of the same group of politicians that were for the stricter incarcerations and, just criminal justice laws. And it didn't matter if what she looked like as far as being of the same ethnicity. They said screw it, so they didn't turn up. So that's how this has to go. If they're going to pander and you don't want to be pandered to, don't let what they're trying to do be of any effectiveness. That's the response to that. Also, it looks like my chair will not be returning. Apparently, it was thrown out. Like I said, man, I really I hate people so much. Like they do the stupidest stuff. Yeah, Ruben. It's really crazy because I actually had the same person who directed that to happen say you need a new one, and I was like, I don't need one, and they don't listen. People are so useless, man. Like they want to sit here and tell you about how much. Now let me shut up. I'm not want to get into that. Let's just put it like this: if I tell you that I don't know, it would cost too much for me to get a better mic, and then you see me driving some new Lamborghini that you know I didn't have when I first started, that should already tell you like that I actually do have the fund. Just in this example, the funding to do something like that to get a better mic. Envoy, I had the whole script written out, and I was gonna spend the week of I think it was the 9th, recording the actual lines and then getting the pictures, the videos, and all of a sudden this little thing started, and it got screwed over. So maybe it'll be my New Year's video. I don't know, but it will come. It will definitely come because I don't like to put things off over and over. Do you think that Joshua Collins has a chance to win this election? He's incredibly stupid, even with his age. I have to remind myself. Let me go look up and see who that is. Speaking of stupid, remember the conservative version of the Squad where it was a bunch of chicks that Fox News put up, and they were like talking about socialists and all the other little non-actual issues. I mean, Envoy, if I run against my congressperson who is, I think, 60 something, and I won, I would actually be, I'd say, I don't want to say the youngest person ever elected to the House in my state, but I'd definitely be down there because it would be one of those cases where you have to be 25 to be a member of the House, but because I would turn 25 after the election, I would still count. That's actually what happened with Biden the first time he ran. He was 29 when he got elected, but he turned 30 between the election and getting sworn in. I'm just saying, Envoy, we could actually see something like that if I was successful in my run, which, I mean, like I said, the only things that stop me are the financial resources, and there's just a lot of structuring that needs to be done for something like that. You need to have a campaign manager. I'd have to have just all the signatures. It's a lot of stuff to think about, but I'm leaning more toward it because the idea is the person that is from my district never gets a left-wing challenger. It's always them versus a Republican, which ends with them getting like 80-70% of the vote. And I never see them campaigning. They hold like maybe 2-3 town halls a year. So I probably I don't know. I really want the district to have someone better than that. Do you know who currently holds the title for being the youngest person? Youngest person out of what? Out of currently in the House? Yeah, that's AOC. Before her, it was what's her name? Elise Steph, whatever the chick from New York, the Republican. Fox and CNN often do that. They just put random labels, socialists. Oh, youngest person to get elected to Congress. Well, because we have the powers of Google and the internet, we can actually see who that is or who that was. I think I did look it up one time. And let's see here. All right, here we go. I found him. He's been deceased for what, 200 years, but there you go. So now we know. I gotta make this thing open up. I hate that Face ID on there because it sometimes will actually decline. He told us people thought he was a Trump bootlicker. Yeah, I've had people accuse me of being a secret Trump supporter for backing the proposed exits from being involved in Syria. Our generals said that would be a bad idea. Our generals haven't won a war in 30 years. So, their word doesn't really mean anything to me. We're abandoning the Kurds. We're bombing babies in Yemen. You can come over here with that morality nonsense. Yep. That was it's really easy to find a lot of this stuff. Not to brag or to be so condescending, but you can look up who was how old wherever. I've been accused of being a Trump supporter too, mostly because I don't support impeachment crap. Yeah, me neither. I've actually seen progressive commentators try to speak to, getting rid of him or just having the hearings, and it's so crazy because if you watch them, they're like, okay, so we know he's not actually going to get removed, but it's a good thing because we're going to show that he did bad things. And like, what are you talking about, man? All the people who already don't like him are agreeing, and all the people who didn't like him are saying it's a bunch of crap. So, like, what change is being made? Again, they're lucky I'm not a member of the House. I would have voted to. I would have been the only. I would have been one of 3 Democrats that voted no on impeachment. And in my speech, I would have said, so because we already know how this movie is ending, I feel the need to read the plot summary. Sometime next year, the House will be voting. The Senate will be having a trial to impeach the president. And because the Republicans are more concerned about their careers than following the law, they're going to vote 9 out of 10, if not 10 out of 10, to acquit him, meaning that our entire vote to get rid of him in the House will be a complete waste of time. Promoting hostility to Turkey because of Syria. I think I covered that where Pelosi said something. It was like warmonger Pelosi wants something, and I was shouting because it was one of the few times I could upload something and not have a person around, and I could be as loud as I wanted to. It was really perfect. Oh, it's a lot more comfortable. U.S. finally recognizing the American genocide doesn't help. Oh, the Armenian genocide doesn't help. Yeah, that's just more grandstanding. They're I told you, like, you guys want me to believe you're so concerned about Jews and are very saddened by what you did to the Japanese in World War II, and then you're over here bombing a country that did nothing to you because you want to be friends with Saudi Arabia so bad. It's like, yeah, I'm very inclined to believe you're so concerned about human rights and the right to live and all that trash. That's still the biggest dichotomy, like seeing Trump supporters who are pro-life, and then when you mention the bombing in Yemen, they either try to defend it or they try to like do the fake news thing. And I just said the correlation is you guys keep talking about how much you care about the unborn, and I'm sure they've bombed some pregnant people over there too. Pregnant people, some pregnant chicks. Believe the Middle East will know no peace. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict is proof enough. Yeah, but Envoy, that's not because those two groups hate each other so much. It's because Israel has a prime minister who is not seeking to have peace. That's why the efforts to do that since the assassination of Yitzhak Rabin and the basically falling out of the Oslo Accords have pretty much just stalled for 20 years. So, This isn't about these people just hating each other. And the sad thing is, and this sucks because I was going to do the Jimmy Dore documentary, where it's like a recap of every year of his YouTube stuff and just his positions on issues. He did an interview with this journalist in January of last year, very early in that month, where she was talking about how in Israel, a lot of the younger, because remember, they always say when people are younger, they care so much about things and blah, 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 blah. That's not true in Israel. They're more likely to be racist or opposed to the Palestinians than the older people. And then the ones that aren't are fleeing from the country. And I just thought that was so ironic, because there was this one broad that I was trying to get with. No, Ruben, it was a chick. And I would grab it for you, but I literally have to go to Jimmy's videos and just YouTube really needs to make a better way to scroll through years of content. It's too extraneous at this point. I can probably get it tonight and then send it to you on Discord. But it was funny because there was a chick I was trying to get with who I mentioned on Saturday's that hour and a half long almost stream I did. And she was like, because I was telling her, I want to have a kid, and she first agreed to it, and she rescinded. And I was pointing out how, we both consider ourselves to be smart people who make financial choices that are savvy and wise and all that good stuff. And I was saying, why should we be denied the right to reproduce when you have pricks who don't save, who don't think about this stuff in advance, doing it all the time? And she just told me, after I named the statistics that were, just of all the stuff that happens from a lot of these kids with these crappy parents. And she goes, "Oh, it'll get better, it'll get better, it'll get better." And that is like, when I think of that, and I think of what's happening in Israel, where the younger citizens are worse toward Palestinians than their older counterparts. It just shows that whole generational thing of, with the advance of technology, everyone becomes so much nicer and gentler and kinder is a bunch of crap. That's why I said people need prior generations to do the right thing and to not be swayed to these crappy positions. That's why I was saying that it's really dangerous that you have a media that'll take a couple of presidents like Kennedy or Reagan or Obama and make them out to be these living, or in some cases, very recently living deities that did nothing wrong. And, all of it goes together. The truth bomb you dropped months ago about Americans living paycheck to paycheck really opened my eyes, man. I mean, I always knew it, but I did more research on the housing issue in the nation. It's funny how people think America is so much better than other countries in many regards. It is, but those leaving below the poverty line are really struggling. Well, I told you about me applying to, I think it was 30 places last week, and the only one I heard from in that period said thanks but no thanks. So, it's more than just a bunch of lazy people, which is why I said that when you're poor, you get smeared and told that you're like this evil individual who is, contributing nothing and so bad, and all the usual smearing that goes on. I can go to my downtown tent city and just show you all the people living there in tents and bags, and it's a really disturbing sight. Sometimes you can actually get parts of the U.S. that look no different from some war-torn country like Afghanistan. That's why they call Chicago Chirac. Like, it's so creepy to have good houses with nice looking neighborhoods 10, 20, 30 minutes away from some area where they've got the little white crosswalks thing on the ground. I mean, it's like, what the hell is this? So I said, I'm really disturbed by a lot of the online, because again, when I do the streams, the whole point of it is to speak to people who, even if they don't agree, at least are trying to be objective about something. And you've got people online who literally will write me a big, huge comment, and they'll cut out pieces of my argument to fit their own thing. So I just said, screw it. I had one guy write a paragraph. It's like, this is why impeachment is good. And I'm just sitting here reading, you so completely chose to leave out any kind of counterpoint to my main conclusion, which is that while Trump probably or most definitely did things that violate the law, because the Republicans want to keep their jobs and his voters supporting them, they're going to acquit him. His approval rating will go up. This will screw the Democrats up in the next election and ultimately turn out to be a complete waste of time because it didn't get rid of him and only helped him. Exactly, but I feel like being objective is being harder to find this day, especially on social media. Yeah, people just want you to condemn everybody and act like they're all horrible and terrible and all that stuff. So you're not really going to get this. I mean, we saw the same thing with the. That was probably my friend. He is regularly arguing with Kyle because Kyle knows that impeachment is stupid. What, Kalinsky? Is that the Kyle you're referring to? By the way, funny thing about Secular Talk, his Wikipedia article almost got deleted. I think it was this past weekend. And I was laughing because because usually I assume that these people that are popular and that have pages like that don't look at them because they're so busy doing stuff and whatnot. He tweeted about it. He was like, they're trying to delete my page. And then a bunch of his supporters started making accounts. And it was really amusing because I'm not, I'm a fan of his, or I'm someone that likes his stuff. And I'll even admit that based off of what the people who wanted to get rid of it were saying, they were in the right because, no, Envoy. So here's how this works. Let's say I make, I don't know, 200 more videos, right? And one of them gets like 3 million views or some big, huge number. And I get invited on CNN. And I speak about the chick stuff and they write an article about it. 2 weeks later, I get interviewed by, I don't know, Fox, and they write an article about it. And then 2 months from now, I write a book about my new stardom, and it gets published by Simon and Schuster. I talk about my early life and all this other stuff about myself, and then people start writing reviews of the book. I get more interviews from CNN and Fox. They start asking about my political positions. Those sources, the book I wrote in this hypothetical, and the different CNN and Fox and MSN and The Hill, all these different places, right? These sources would constitute me being notable enough to have an article on Wikipedia. But because Kyle does a little, show on, not a little, but a show that is on the internet that for the most part doesn't get covered by any major outlet, and anytime he shows up on Fox, it's usually for a little guest panelist thing where they don't really talk about it in writing. He kind of only, when he gets mentioned in articles, it's a brief passing reference, which is a point that the guy who was trying to get rid of it was making. You get what I'm saying, Envoy? I know it might have been a little confusing, but they were saying that the few sources that were on his article, because they don't have him as the primary person they're discussing, don't constitute him, don't validate the claim that he is notable. It was funny because I'm currently listening to or hearing from definitely Rand on international issues. He gets on my nerves when he starts talking about balancing the budget because that's a joke to both parties at this point. They use that for political gain. Massey from Kentucky as well. I think that might be it. Oh, and then Collins and Murkowski, because they actually are moderates that I can name multiple outstanding or votes that are independent from the rest of their party. So 3 senators, 1 representative. The House is such a just garbage institution. They have how do you have 4 times the members of the Senate and I have more senators I like than the members of the House? But did you get what I was saying about the article about why they made that claim? And it was even more amusing because on the page, on Kyle's thread for his tweet, People were screenshotting where they were getting blocked or banned by the mods. And I was like, oh my God, I know that mod. Oh my God, I know the person who's trying to like I've interacted with them in the past. It was just funny. Yeah, those who are more moderate, so moderates are more interesting to listen to if you ask me. Well, I mean, I don't even consider Rand a moderate. He's a person who has international policy views that are different from the rest of his party. It's the same thing with his father when he does, when Ron does his stuff on YouTube, when he's talking about ending a war or how ridiculous our position is with some particular country. It's interesting, but when he gets up there and talks about the hells of so, and I even did a stream about it if you remember. When he starts doing that, I just domestic stuff. Mm-mm. It seems like everyone has an issue with some form. Oh, Envoy, that was what they were trying to claim. They're trying to censor Kyle by getting rid of his Wikipedia article. They were really acting like if they delete this article that doesn't even get any views anyway, he's not going to be able to do his show anymore. Democrat strategists are planning to get Collins out of the Senate if she doesn't vote for impeachment. Ruben, you've never told me what you think of Collins. I guess I would say a fan of hers, but you haven't really specified if you like her or not. So I would be interested to hear. I mean, like I said, I expect the Republicans to just be complete borderline bootlickers for everything that Trump does, and she's not. Like, all I ever hear when people want to say that she's just like the rest of Republicans is just to bring up the Kavanaugh vote. Oh my God, she voted with a member of her party, with the president of her party. LOL, yeah, I knew that's what they would say. They remove an article censorship, but hey, I can understand what they say, but it's a card they try to play too many times. Both sides, to be honest, are like that. Yeah, but they were trying to get rid of the article because there aren't that many sources that talk about Kyle. Just like a whole, I mean, like if someone wrote an article in Vanity Fair, creator of secular talk, an intimate portrait, they could use that and they could cite about maybe, 3 or 4 different things probably from that article that they couldn't if they just relied on his videos because those don't count as sources. Which I think is stupid because, like, if you have a video of someone saying something out of their own mouth, I don't understand why. Whatever, man. People are so weird with this stuff. I let them get it, just whatever. Understatement. Yeah, Ruben, she is not like the rest of the Republicans, and I don't know. It's just so nice to see a couple of members of that party actually want to get out of Yemen, like her, Rand, Murkowski, Warren from Kentucky, the junior senator over there. It's good. And, I'd like that it's that same group who is consistent on voting to get out of that. It's the same like 6 or 7 Republicans. Yeah, I don't even bother Wikipedia anymore. They piss me off too much. So basically, they're mad their article got removed because they did not do enough research on providing the sources needed for the article. Well, here's the thing. The people who were deleting it actually looked for sources to keep it. They went and typed in Kyle's name, and they couldn't find any sources that mentioned him by himself. It was always this one progressive commentator named Kyle Kulinski said that, like a little sentence, and they didn't think that was notable enough. But like I said, if he actually got covered on any of these major news sources and they had articles about, Kulinski said this, Kulinski said that, and they had the quotations and it was specifically about him or half about him or whatever, then he could get one very easily. Hell, if I wrote a book about him, it was just maybe I don't know, 200, 300 pages, and it was some major publication, you could use that as your sources. You don't need these news outlets to pay attention to you. And one reason that the Democratic strategist said they want her gone from the Senate is because of Kavanaugh. But that's not that literally is the only reason. They loved her when she voted to keep Obamacare. They loved her when she voted against DeVos's horrible backwards self. Um, I mean, they loved her when she voted after that to she's one of the 12 Republicans that voted not to give Trump the border wall money. Like, these people are just traitors. They don't know who's on their side. That's why I said people turn on you in over one vote. That's why I even mentioned that Harris had a crappy presidential campaign and she did some horrible stuff as attorney general, but as senator, I don't really have a problem with her. I think she might have voted for the military budgets, at least one or two of them, but outside of that, you know, she's pretty much been a Sanders clone in terms of her voting in the Senate. I probably should do a whole video about it, like it'll be called the good or the great of or something of Harris or whatever. Like crappy presidential campaign, uh, horrible career as attorney general and just as an attorney, as a cop, but decent senator. I'll take her over Feinstein. Never go against the establishment. Man, forget the establishment. I told you the only reason people are scared of them is because they think they're going to stop them from getting another term. I wouldn't care if I didn't get reelected because the job of a House member is not to have 8 or 9 years of sitting by waiting for people to step down or retire or die so they can actually be bold in what they want to do. I just keep picturing me running for the House and only getting like 10 votes. And it'll be funny because if I actually did it the way I wanted to, where I just like banged on everyone's door in my whole district, and so just the irony of the person who vigorously campaigned only got X amount of votes when the person who didn't even lift a finger was able to get 10 times more because of their name recognition. I just think that would be really amusing. I hope it didn't happen. It won't happen, but it would be amusing to see something like that. That's what happened with Brown, where he didn't really run at all for re-election. So in 2014 against Kashkari, and he was still able to get what was it, like 60, 50 something percent of the vote. Like, wow, you guys re-elected a man who didn't even campaign against a Republican that actually wasn't that bad. He was, whatever. People are weird. They don't feel like that. Yeah, this stream went out. I was over here so disappointed. I had to pull out another device to read what people are writing. How is it like having Terminator to be your state governor? Man, look, when he took office, I was a little kid. I wasn't into politics. The only two things I remember from him being governor when they actually happened were when Reagan died. I was 6. I was in kindergarten or first grade or whatever. And the affair with his, what was it, like his nanny or something? Those are the only two memories I have of him as governor. Because he literally left office right, I think about 2 years before I actually got really deep into this stuff. Yeah. I told you I don't care about sex scandals. So if he had passed single payer and been for a Green New Deal, man, you think I would care that he was banging his nanny? Wouldn't even be on the map. Told you I'm very consistent. Oh my God, Trump cheated on all 3 of his wives. I don't care. Oh my God, Clinton cheated on his wife. So what? Has nothing to do with policy. Not a thing. People they take whatever stuff that doesn't matter and they blow it up. I was telling this guy, I opposed Clinton because of the signing of Gramm-Leach-Bliley, the continuations of NAFTA, and the war on drugs. I'm tired of all the Republicans getting crap talked for supporting those. are supporting one of those while he supported both and gets to be seen as some liberal icon. Hillary said she would have leave Bill if he turned out that the affair was real during the time it was leaked. Well, she stayed with him. I know her mother actually, if I'm remembering correctly, encouraged her to leave him, and she, and continue her own career. People want pretend like they have this upright, more righteous morality when it, yeah, and Envoy, I told you, a lot of these modern, not even just the chicks, but a lot of the guys too, are sexually loose. Like when I did the video about how I don't like talking to chicks who have screwed a bunch of people or can't tell you the number or whatever. I actually got a lot of comments. How could you? You're not supposed to. Let me read that stupid stuff. You're not supposed to care. You're supposed to enjoy the experience and have fun and not let that distract from it. It's like, how can I have fun if I'm worried that I'm going to get an STD from a broad that has screwed everyone in my state? Let me read one of them. Let's see here. I want to read that. That was ridiculous. Like people take stuff and they try to present arguments against it, and it always just sounds so dumb. Okay, so it's not about the quantity, but the quality. And after becoming an adult, talking about how many sexual partners you and your date have had tends to be a conversation best avoided. And there is a necessary risk you must take to get the rewards of dating, which is supposed to be fun. Yeah, as if there's some sacred people who have never screwed anyone or cheated on anyone. I told you about but you remember the broad from last year, the one that was on Reddit that admitted she had 20 guys trying to get with her and was sending me all those little nasty messages, and then all of a sudden stopped, and I asked, why did you stop? Oh, I met this guy in real life and I like him. So now we can hide my past of sending disgusting, sexually suggestive stuff to you because I'm now with my perfect person. I talk about, can we be friends? I go to hell. we can be friends when pigs fly. We can be friends when the House and Senate pass single payer. 99 to 0 or 100 to 0. We can be friends when. No, I'm not going to mention that. Hey, we can be friends when human characters in Dragon Ball can beat the main villain. No, that comment was funny. You have to take risk to get the rewards of dating. It's like what rewards? The STD reward. It's like, congratulations on not asking this woman if she screwed anybody. Here's your STD. Oh my God. Jesus, people don't have any type of brains. They just say and I'm like, you can say that you shouldn't try to act like you're so pure and important, but you gotta understand the perspective. You're a dude who's only slept with one person or none in a lot of cases, and you meet some broad and she's talking about, I'm so interested in you and blah 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 blah, and she screwed 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people. You're looking at her like, what the hell? Because if it was so impossible to not have intercourse, you wouldn't have gone years without having it if it was this difficult thing. I wouldn't have minded if she wanted to change since she met an upstanding guy, but I don't want to be friends. Well, that's their way of saying, I like your personality, but you're not good enough to be my main guy or whatever. That's like playing Mario Kart and getting in second place after they give a trophy to the person who won. Oh, here's the silver cup. No, I'm good. I didn't get what I came for, so I'm gonna pack. I'm gonna cut my losses and disappear like Jimmy Hoffman. I'm the new Teamster. I think that the Kosovo bombing also happened during Clinton's affair scandal. Yeah, Jimmy had a video, and that did happen. You're correct, but Jimmy had a video. He was talking about how I think Graham Leach Biley or something. It was either that or another major law got signed while that was going on. It completely distracted people from it. And they're like, oh, well, it's not our fault you can't chew gum and walk at this. It's like, no, the media distracts people from it. They cover the impeachment stuff like crazy. Just like, didn't Trump cut 700,000 people on food stamps? It's like, where the hell's the coverage for that? People are so embarrassing. I'm really ashamed. I still need to watch The Irishman. That'd be funny if I did a Jimmy Hoffa cartoon. It's like that's my punishment for mentioning him over and over again. We're gonna do like a whole trilogy of shows, one about his early life, then when he was the Teamster, like coming up as a member of the Teamsters. Okay, Democrats voted with the GOP to continue the Patriot Act. Yeah, like all this important stuff is going on, and and that's why I said I have purposely limited the number of times. No, 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 Envoy. It would be a long movie basically, like a mini series. That's what I'm saying. Because the thing about these movies is that they try to cram so much stuff into some. Like, I'm sorry, you can't take an 8-year presidency, try to cover from start to finish in 2 hours. It just doesn't happen. There's a guy right now who I really like the videos of. He tried to review 100 chapters of a manga, and I think it was like 15 minutes, and it didn't work. It just sounded like an overview. He didn't go in depth. He didn't talk about what specifically. I don't like that. It's certain stuff needs a certain length to it to actually allow it to be digested and um, what's a good word for it? To have some kind of weight, because it just, you can't rush through everything in some cases. Those poor old legs of mine, man. But yeah, these places aren't hiring people, and anyone who tries to get a job over here gets accused of being lazy. Like, you show up for all these interviews, you're a defeatist. It's like, I'm just saying what they're doing. They're not responding to your application. So I can't go up and grab them by the throat and say, you better answer my computer things. It doesn't work like that. But again, people don't want to factor in that a lot of times if we're talking about doing stuff within society, it takes another person making decisions as well. All right, what else do we have here to discuss? I think a slow news day. It's like nothing's happened other than Democrats stabbing other Democrats in the back. Yeah, this was really a lame month for me, man. Like after the 9th, I just like all my production just stopped. I had 3 documentaries lined up. I was gonna do my top 10 betrayals of this year. I was gonna do um, top 10 senators of the decade. I like so much stuff, and just doing some karate moves, moving all this stuff around. It sucks. It's really, really lame. It'd be funny if we actually have the stream act up after this, where it's acting up to where I can't even look at anything on the screen. I don't see anything on here. That's crazy. I think Booker put out some plan, but I mean, what's the point? He's gonna drop out soon anyway. Mulvaney deputy tapped for White House post. Who cares about that? Giuliani says something dumb. How are you more religion than the person who's of that religion? Boeing CEO resigning. That might actually be slightly important, but I mean, like my thing with a lot of these groups, Obama said the woman should be in charge of the U.S. presidency. I mean, we should definitely eventually have one, but not just any broad, either Klobuchar or Harris. Yeah, well, Envoy, that's because he's trying to promote the same stereotypes about the genders. Oh my God, chicks are more mature. They're not as violent. They don't. Duh, 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 duh. I wish I could actually play the video of the chick that was burning her baby's hand for like 50 videos or something. You look at that broad, tell me they're not violent. Are the two broads that went inside that store and beat up the the broad that was, I guess, also seeing the same dude as their mother, and then she pulled out the gun and shot both of them in the head. They keep telling me they're not. They're not. They would, if they were in power, we would have no conflicts anywhere. It's like, well, dingbat. If you don't want that to be the case, disregard the fact that you're not abroad and do that stuff yourself. Yeah, envoy, whoever's best qualified. That's so dumb. Told you he just like every time he comes out and says something, I want to roll my eyes. I think he's had one statement in the last 3 years of him being out of office that not 3 years, 2 years, almost three, of him being out of office that I've actually liked. But everything else, just go away and do like Hillary, go in the woods, sit up in the shrubbery. Because I don't understand the point of a politician who is supposed to have this big high approval rating only coming out to speak against what's going on. If he wants to say something dumb like if you have a vagina you're going to govern a country better automatically, or go and give some, what was it, $400,000 speech to Wall Street. I wonder what would do for Obama if they were in a room alone. I wouldn't do anything to him. I mean, even if I don't like these people, I'm not gonna. It's just like when I covered that person that was talking about doing something to Trump. I said I oppose them on policy, but it's not about wishing someone's demise. And I'm so ashamed of these people online. See here, no more comments. All right, I'll just sit here and stare at the screen and maybe put on some jacket or some other piece of gear. I was actually looking for my jacket earlier. Where did it go? I've been altering between the same two rooms. Where did I put it? It's just been such a frustrating maybe last 4 or 5 months, because it's like all the bad stuff just progresses and then all the decent stuff just stalls and sits in place. Is Kagan's wife and was in the Obama administration. Wow. I mean, that's no surprise. Remember, he's the same person that took Bush's defense. What was it? I don't remember what Rumsfeld was for Bush, but he took Bush's guy and put him in his cabinet. It's like if I wanted Republicans to be in charge, I would have voted for McCain. I think actually I should do a. Trump has a lot of cabinet members that should have documentaries made about them. Like Mnuchin should have one. Mattis should definitely have one. Maybe DeVos. There's a lot of people that, if you look throughout their whole career, you'll find some really not entertaining, but interesting stuff. I just don't want to like do all of his cabinet members because they're. It's just a thing where you do get kind of interested in how they got to where they are, but then I don't want to make it seem as if, oh my God, I love this president so much. So here's a discussion of all the different people that work for him. Yeah, she's another one of those historical figures that's going to get ignored that had a big impact. Who else was like not even just in the presidential field, also remember with Roseanne with the comment from last year. I mean, that literally is cancel culture. Oh my God, she said this thing, this joke. Like, so what, man? Comedians are supposed to be offensive. That's the thing about comedy. Some people think it's funny, other people don't. Damn. Like I said, people just want to keep on. It's like, oh, we got her show off the air. Good job. Now it can plummet in the ratings. Thanks for getting rid of the title character. With a terrific strategy. Yeah, I'm really ashamed. I'm gonna do a stream where I just take my glasses off and just have my face like I'm like it's like why are they doing this? All the people that Jared helped murder with Obama's policies didn't find it funny. Well, that's my thing. That's why I said that those of us who verbalize and articulate a position are more likely to get condemned versus people who actually do things. So, for example, the media, if let's say I'm a member of the House, right? It's my first day in office. They ask me, what do I want to do? I want to get rid of this hag that is the Speaker of the House. Oh my God. Uh, let's run 5 stories about this new congressman who called Pelosi a fossilized hag. They're not going to run any stories about her denying people health insurance by not trying to pass single payer. They're not going to run any stories about her saying "screw you" to the environment and environmentalists by not pursuing the Green New Deal and not even remember what its name was. Rhetoric, for some weird reason, now matters more than things that people actually do. I had so many people condemning me for talking about the chick with the kid, but they won't talk about the chick with the kid who had one that she can't afford. That's why I said this stuff it's all just backwards. Like my comments don't kill anybody. They don't make people you know, they're just it's something that someone says and then they get to live the rest of their lives regardless of how I feel because I don't put my hands on these people. I don't just do anything other than speak. And for some reason, that matters more than what people are actually doing to themselves and to each other in a lot of cases. Oh, such is the way of the new stupid generation of people that I unfortunately have to live with, or at least live amongst as my contemporaries. You said this. You should be canceled. It's like, yeah, but I should be canceled for calling someone a name, but not for a war. Okay, that they lied us into. Well, Ruben, I brought up Obama's policies on Saturday. It's funny how a lot of people disregard it. Ruben says, "What have both Paul Ryan and Janet Napolitano been doing since they've stepped down?" I don't know about Janet, but I know that Paul met AOC and he was like, "She disregarded everything I said." It's like, yeah, nobody cares about you. You're a little hack whose political career is fail, which is why you didn't get to be vice president. And you also didn't get to accomplish anything as speaker other than a crappy tax bill for the rich and leaving the government in a shutdown. That's his legacy. The first speaker to leave during a shutdown, or one of the speakers to leave during the shutdown. I don't know if Gingrich left when they were shut down. And a crappy tax bill. Those are the two highlights of his tenure. I told you McConnell's way more like he really if we get to a point where we do like a top 10 senators of I don't know the last 50 years, he should be in there somewhere. At least 15. It's just like so much stuff has happened and not happened because of him. If we had Democrats in Congress that were as effective as he is, we would have single payer by now. Like I just can't believe how important that man is and how much stuff he's done. And like people want to whine and get upset with a dude on YouTube or a broad on Twitter or some other person with no power that isn't in control of Congress. That's really insane to me. But people they have misplaced anger. They go after those that don't have the strength to do the things that they accuse them of screwing up. So that's that. All right. Any final comments, concerns, questions, theories? I'm already predicting that the stream is probably going to be a little bit messed up when it's replayed because of the disconnect I did for a moment there. And if that happens, we'll just have to deal with it. Trying to see if Envoy has anything left to say. Any final comments, theories, thoughts, speculations, concerns, inquiries? He's going to say, see you later, socialist. And he's going to put SYLS. And we have so many labor leaders that I would love to do something with the story of, but there's not enough text out there for me to really get a understanding of them. I'll probably talk more about that at some later point. All right. Any final comment from Envoy? Did he go to sleep? Did he pass away? What happened to him? Envoy, where are you? You disappeared. I have now feared that I'll never see you again. All right. Well, I tried to give him a chance. So, yeah, Ruben, thanks for showing up. Thanks for the other people that showed up. I will stream again on Saturday, and we'll go from there.